Hi, I'm Jim Slater. I'm the Chief Engineer here at Blue Dot Change. I'm responsible for a couple different facets of our whole operation, which are, Jeff just described to you the chemical side of things, where we have to essentially develop and refine our method for destroying the methane. And then I'm responsible for delivering the deadly dose of methane cracking chemicals, and then also measuring the effect that we've had on it, developing our measurement systems, because we can't prove what we've done unless we can measure it and show people the results. And so those are the aspects that I'm dealing with.
Can you talk about the delivery vehicle, I guess it is, and talk about it in the context of, you know, stage one in the hooded lab, and stage two would be something bigger? And
well, the first stage, as you've seen, is that we have to recreate the.
I'm sorry. Can you start that again without saying you've seen?
Oh,
because
okay.
because they won't have seen it yet.
The first stage is to recreate the primary reaction. That's the ferric trichloride attacking the methane molecules. Once that's recreated, we start to, in a stepwise fashion, move towards the environment that we'll be actually working in. So once we've optimized or recreated the initial reaction, we'll work on optimizing it by introducing some other chemicals into it and so on. And then we'll move into a more real-world situation where we'll start to move into an outdoor environment with kind of turbulence we'll see on the open ocean and so on. And then we'll move to a stage where we start testing on the ocean. One thing that we've been discussing lately is there's two facets. One is the reaction itself, and the other one is the delivery method. So we can essentially experiment with those separately. We can refine the reaction here in the hood, but when we get to the open ocean, we can test the delivery method without actually having to deliver the ferric trichloride and optimize it before we even start to experiment with the ferric trichloride.
What's the ideal vehicle? You're talking about the ocean, so how would that happen? What height does it have to happen, or is that all part of the research?
We're experimenting with that, but as if you study the reaction, you'll see that for it to work, we need a UV light, and we also need sodium chloride, or salt, essentially. So things need to operate in that area where there's both of those, and so we have basically the ocean layer of the atmosphere where both those elements are present.
Okay, and can you talk about the fact that you may use ships, or is that kind of at an early stage?
No, sure, yeah. So the idea is that there's a lot of vessels on the ocean every hour of every day, and they're a natural vehicle for us to distribute the ferric trichloride across wide areas of the atmosphere in the ocean layer that we're interested in. So the idea would be that by using a vessel, we have a very easy, convenient way to distribute the chemical as we go on with our fight against methane. So it's a convenient method, and it's also something that's well received by the ship owners themselves. They're very anxious to do something. They know that the fuel they burn is causing problems with global warming, and they're searching for ways that they can help and reduce their impact. So they're quite willing to cooperate with us.
What are the biggest challenges for you from an engineering point of view in doing this?
Probably the...
Oh, sorry, can you answer that as a statement? Like, the biggest challenges for me are probably...
Okay. The biggest challenge for me is actually documenting our results. We all live in a world where if you're a company or anything, you need to fund your research and fund your efforts. In order for us to do that, we need to basically be able to demonstrate that we've destroyed methane and are improving the world. To do that, we need to sense it, and sensing things on the open ocean is difficult. There's lots of weather conditions, there's lots of other complicating factors that that present quite a problem for us. So we've been together brainstorming, working on ways to do it, and we have some interesting ideas, but those need to be tested. That's one of the other facets. So there, as we mentioned, there's multiple facets. There's the chemical reaction itself, refining that and optimizing it. There's delivering the chemical, and then there's measuring the results that we achieved with the chemical. So that was the last facet. So that's the driver that will let us essentially continue the effort. If we can't fund the development, then we won't do it for very long because we won't be able to.
Yeah, I can't quite get my head around it. I can see how you can measure success in an enclosed environment, but on the ocean, that's quite a mind-numbing challenge.
It is. I mean, the idea is, you know, in general, one common theme is for measuring is that you shine a laser somewhere and you look at how much of the laser light is absorbed by methane. There's a certain frequency of laser that methane will absorb. So as you go along with that, there's certain ways to do it. You can essentially take a sample of air and measure it, or you can shoot a laser at a reflective target and look at the amount of light that came back. So there's all sorts of ideas, and we're developing to refine those. We have some interesting approaches that you'll probably see in the future.
Great. And are you an optimist?
Yes, I am. I feel like we have to do something and we have to try. All of us have to do whatever we can. If we care about the direction things are headed and our children, we have to give it a try. I think we have a small amount of time to do something. If we wait another decade or two, it could be too late.
And then I think you're a bit yeah, that's where you were, yeah. Okay. So what motivated you to get involved in this?
Well, I spent the last 7 or 8 years up in Alaska, living off-grid, raising my kids in a place where they could experience an intact ecosystem. And after a while, I realized that we can't just live in a remote area and expect the world not to catch up with us. So we uprooted and came back down so we could essentially join the fight and do something that would help the world, humanity, and my legacy, my kids.
Just to expand a little bit more on the kind of pristine or fading away pristine conditions in Alaska.
Yeah, I moved to Alaska and lived off-grid. It's kind of a childhood dream. But one of the big motivating factors was that I wanted my kids to experience an intact ecosystem and really realize what nature could be like and should be like. They learned what it really means to see salmon spawning in a stream, grizzly bears foraging in our front yard, whales jumping out of the ocean in front of our house. And in experiencing that, when we came back south, we could see how much was lost and what direction we were headed. So we decided that it was time to come back down and to really join the fight and try to do something to save our planet.
That's great. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.